Hello everyone, welcome to the AMA session with Karan Jagtiani. I am Shruti Vatve and I will be your host for this session. I hope you all are excited for the session. If you are, then let us know in the chat box. So let's begin. Let me welcome Karan, who is currently an SDE 1 at HackerRank. He will be answering our questions today regarding the placements, projects, academics, his journey so far, and any of the other questions that you guys might have. Um, so the session is now open. You can start typing your questions in the live chat box below. We already have a few questions which Karan would be answering meanwhile till the time you guys type it in the chat box. So let's begin. So the first question we have is from Madhura, and I'm sure it's a dreaded question. So Karan, the question is: Does college CGPA matter?
Okay, that's an interesting question. First of all, thank you for inviting me today for this session. I am really excited and I have a lot of insights and things that I would like to share with everyone. So I hope I can do that tonight. Like first question, does CGPA matter? So the the short answer is definitely not. Your CGPA definitely does not matter. Uh, from the first year itself, we are taught that your CGPA is very important and you should really focus on your CGPA. So, what I think is that instead of focusing on that number, you should focus on the knowledge that you are getting. So, there are a lot of subjects in the curriculum itself that you are going through. So, there are a lot of subjects which are important, but it's not like you should focus that I want like A plus or O grade. I want the perfect score in that. I strongly disagree with focusing on the score. I always try to go for like deep knowledge. You should always try to go for knowledge in that particular subject and not really try to get good grades or good marks. If you go for knowledge, automatically you will get good grades and you will automatically have a good CGPA. So I will say that CGPA, focusing on that term CGPA or getting good marks, is something that we shouldn't really focus on. And it's not like our curriculum is completely useless. There are various subjects which are really helpful and are useful in the industry as well. So you should focus on getting knowledge and not getting CGPA. And like a lot of great companies out there, they don't really care about your CGPA. They mostly care about your projects and what you have done in your like throughout your BTech or whatever course you are doing. So yes, that's my answer.
Yeah, that's a really great answer, Karan. I think all of us have this question in our minds all this time, especially those from computer engineering students that we have here. Okay. So moving on, the next question we have is from Isha. So she wants to know what are the essential qualities required to be a successful intern and get placement.
Okay, so essential qualities required by an intern. Okay, so I'll answer this in two parts. Like first of all, I'll answer it in such a way that what are the good qualities to get a internship at a good company? Like what are the qualities you should have? Like, and this is my personal belief. It's not like this is a hard and fast rule that you should have these qualities, and if you have these qualities, you will get a good internship or a placement. So these are just the qualities which I believe a person should have. And the most main quality you should have is a learning mindset. So basically, if you are passionate about what you're doing, and I'm not only talking about software engineering or the computer engineering domain, I'm talking about any domain that you are part of. If you are passionate about that, so you will automatically put in the effort and you will try to be the best person possible at in that field. So I would say having a learning mindset and not being afraid to learn something new. So this is a quality I believe every engineer should have, because in particularly in software engineering, if you are close-minded and if you're not open to learning new things, then it can get stagnated at some point. You can get stagnated. So I believe that keeping an open mindset and learning new things in every aspect, like whatever aspect, whatever project you're working on or whatever feature you're working on, having an open mindset, talking to others, talking to your seniors, talking to your colleagues, having an open mindset definitely helps you improving your performance, whether it be coding or anything else. So learning mindset is definitely the utmost one. Then apart from that, like the generic terms that are already being told out there, like being dedicated and being persistent, not losing hope, all of these qualities are also something that a person should have. And if they have this, then it doesn't matter what you are talking about, like are you talking about internship, placement, or anything. Basically, with these qualities you will have success in life. So it doesn't matter if you're asking with particularly about how to, what are the qualities for an intern or what are the qualities to get placed. I feel like this is something which can help you proceed in life, get success in life in any aspect that you would like to look at it from. So yeah.
That was indeed a well answered question. I think you rightly mentioned that learning throughout your life is very important, and that's what we should be focusing on. And it's not just a matter of placements, of course, it's a journey of a lifetime. So, moving on to the next question. Rajesh is asking, is GitHub important for placements?
Okay, okay. So is GitHub important? All right. So from a like if you are purely asking from a software perspective, then definitely yes. Like definitely GitHub is very important. It will not only enable you to do open source contributions. So like 90% of the open source community, like most of it is on GitHub itself. So and GitHub is a really good platform to connect with organizations like whom you have never even heard about or whom you have never even thought that you would be able to connect with them. But like most of the organizations who are open source, they are most likely on GitHub itself. So that is one aspect. Definitely GitHub is very important for that. And if you are into open source and like contributing to the open source community that is out there, like free software that is uh, out there, you can definitely do that through GitHub. And another aspect to GitHub is you can showcase your own projects. So whatever you have worked on or whatever you think may help the community out there, so you can publish that on GitHub easily. And the community is so large that your repositories, if they are written well, the readme files are made well, the tags are added, so it will definitely get exposure, little amount of exposure. And if it is good, then it can even blow up. So GitHub is definitely a platform that you should be familiar with, and specifically the Git version control, the CLI tool, should definitely be familiar with that. And GitHub is very, I would say, important to get like internships, or not only internships, like even just contributing to the open source community.
All right. So, you guys heard it. GitHub is very important from a placement perspective. Also, don't forget to claim your free GitHub pack. Like if you're a student, then you can claim a free pack from GitHub. So the GitHub Pro version. All right. So the next question is from Priya, and she's asking how to find the right career path.
Okay. So, like for every person, it is different, but I'll just talk about from my perspective, like how I found my right career path and how I got into software engineering. So basically, like till my 12th standard, I was, you can say, a lost kid, a lost cause. Like there was no goal I had, there was no determination I had that I want to like get successful. But at that time I was like a hardcore backbencher, like didn't pay attention in class, I didn't care about studies, grades, they are the last thing I care about. I was a gamer, you can say, used to play video games all day all night. So I should say all night and not sleep all day and game all night. So that was my, you can say, schedule till my 12th standard. But in my 12th standard, I had taken this computer science course, like which most of the people in computer engineering might have taken in their 11th, 12th. So in that, there was this topic called HTML. Like it was a unit HTML in that course. So like before that, I didn't know how websites were made or what they like. How are they created? Who creates them? How is it? I used to think that you have to go to a specific location, like a office, a secret office, go there, tell them that I want to create a website, and that's how websites are there on the internet. That's what I used to think. But I learned in that course that you can just create a simple notepad file, name it, give it some name and .html, save it, and your website is like you can open your website on your machine. So that was very fascinating to me, and from that moment I figured out that I want to become a software engineer. And while I was coming back home, I was Googling on my phone, like how to become a software engineer. And I found this particular answer on Quora that you first have to do a engineering entrance exam, which is like JEE, and if I talk about Maharashtra, it's CET. So my family doesn't come from an engineering background, so I had no clue about these entrance exams and what is the procedure to become a engineer. So on Quora, I found that I have to apply for JEE and CET. So and the JEE form was going to be closed within 4 days. Like I was at the very end moment, but I successfully filled that form. And then from that moment, I used to study like the PCM subjects for 8 to 10 hours a day. Like at that moment, I was determined that I want to get into engineering college and become a software engineer. So from that point onwards, even though I didn't really enjoy chemistry, I used to enjoy physics and maths, but still I used to study all the three subjects like 8 to 10 hours a day. But unfortunately, like a lot of you may know that so little preparation. Like I started doing this like 2 months before the JEE exam. So most of you may know that studying even 8 to 10 hours a day for 2 months will not at all help you get good marks in JEE. So I scored, I think, -9 in JEE, like out of 360, -9. So that is like not at all. You can get nothing from that. And next was CET, like 1 month after JEE was CET exam. In that, I think I got 78 out of 200. So that's also not at all great, but it's not too bad also. So with 78, I was able to get a engineering college and start my engineering journey. But from that moment, like when I found out that I liked HTML, from that moment onwards I never really left coding and make building stuff. So from that moment onwards, even in my BTech, I was always determined, like for every subject, every project I did, because at that time my vision was clear, and my what I want to become, my goal, that was clear to me. So to answer your question, I think it was Rajesh, that to understand your vision and your goal, it's not, there is no set path. Like it may happen anytime, like whatever you may be doing, you just get epiphany that this is what I want to do. And when you get that, then you should not stop and you should never give up on that. So yeah, I told this story because I just wanted to show that it's not, anyone can become successful if they work hard, if they're determined enough. And once they find their passion, then basically you just have to do what you love. So yeah.
That was very inspirational, Karan. Definitely, I think very well answered. And I think this is something that we all need to understand, that it's never too late to start, and determination, consistency, and putting in the work every single day is what we need to do. So, okay, then moving on. Asad is asking, which programming language do you suggest we code in and why?
Okay, okay. So before I answer this question, I see one question in the live stream asked by Samyak. He's actually a really good friend,
Okay.
and both of us were in the HackerRank internship together itself. So he's saying, "Big fan, sir. One question: who clicked the picture used in the banner?" So Samyak, I think it was Adyasha. I'm not sure. Adyasha, another intern who was there with me in my during my internship. So I think, yeah. I think it was Adisha, not sure. Yes. And what was the question, Shruti?
Yeah, so Asad is asking which programming language do you suggest we code in and why?
Okay, okay. So I would suggest, if you are very new to programming and if you have no idea where you should start, then I would suggest starting with Python, because that is a very easy programming language to pick up. It is very easy to learn. The learning curve is very, you can say, very easy to pick that up. But if you are familiar with a few programming languages, but you still don't really have any particular preference, then I would suggest that you should keep trying the different programming languages that are out there: C++, Java, Python, all the programming languages that are out there. You should try it out first, see what resonates with you, because I feel like a lot of the times we tend to choose programming languages that are like used a lot in the industry, or that are talked about by a lot of YouTubers or influencers, that I use this programming language. But what I feel is that you should stick to what resonates with you, even though it may be a niche programming language, or even though it may be something that are not a lot of people use. But still, you should stick to the programming language which resonates with you more. So I know a lot of people who really like C++, a lot of people who really like Java. There are a lot of people who hate Java, who hate C++. But still, like, I feel like you shouldn't love or hate any particular language. I feel that you should learn the main concepts of the programming languages, like what are if conditions, for loops, all the object oriented, all of these concepts, if you are familiar with. And in the industry, let's say, even though you are asked to code in a new programming language which you have never studied before, which you have never worked with before, you will still be able to cope up with it, because you are familiar with the concepts and not scared of trying something new, uh, trying something new in the, you can say, while creating your projects. So yes, that is what I would say.
Yeah, I think all of us have this. Most of us have this question in our minds when we first start off, like which programming language to choose, and we tend to, get a FOMO, like what if I choose the wrong programming language, and then what if I miss on, like my other classmates are doing Python and I'm doing Java, or vice versa. Like, am I missing out on something? And we need to really stop doing that, because at the end of the day, everything's about skill. So yeah, very well explained, Karan. So next we have Madhura asking that are extracurricular activities considered while hiring for SDE roles?
Okay, so what I feel about this is that extracurricular activities, they they show a lot in your personality. Like, if you are like part of a lot of extracurricular activities as well, so I would say the primary thing that is looked at is your skills, like your mentality, your skills. But I feel like extracurricular activities, they do help in showcasing what your mindset is, because a lot of the times these extracurricular activities, they are for the community, right? So if you are able to do that, and if you are able to find time for that, then definitely yes, you should go ahead with that. And yes, I feel like they are considered. They are not the primary aspect which is considered while hiring for SD roles, I feel. But they are definitely looked at, and they definitely showcase what your thinking is, how your personality is, and what are the things you are willing to do for the community. So yes, definitely, even like contributing to open source just out of your will, that is also one of the, like an extracurricular activity itself. So I feel like you should definitely try to do that if you are able to find time.
That's right. Helping never lets you down. It will only uplift you. So you should definitely help, guys. to the community, especially. And next, we have a question in the chat box by Gautam, who's asking, could you please mention how important is system design in interviews?
Okay, so if you are you can say like applying for intern roles, then I haven't seen that being asked a lot, but from a placement perspective, yes, definitely system design is something that you should be familiar with, like what is a MVC architecture or what is microservice framework, like what are these things, like even though you may not have implemented it firsthand, that is fine, like even if you haven't done it or even if you don't understand it completely, no one is going to no one is going to ask you in like very depth like what is this exactly and where is this used, but definitely you should be familiar with these concepts of system design and how systems are built. So there are a lot of YouTube channels also out there which focus on system designs of big companies like Netflix, PayPal. How are these services being created by big teams out there? So like in our college or in our projects, we normally tend to use the three-tier architecture, the common three-tier architecture, front end, back end, database, like which communicate with each other in a synchronous way. So we are usually familiar with these things. I myself was not really familiar with the microservice architecture. Like I knew the concepts, but I had never worked with that firsthand. I was mostly familiar with the three-tier architecture, like before my internship, but during my internship and now even during the SD1 role, I am able to like not only get help from seniors and colleagues, but understand that in more detail, that how is it actually implemented, how is the exact code written for that. So even if though if you have not worked with it, it's completely fine. And yes, you should definitely know what system design is. So a lot of the times we tend to hold ourselves back because just because we haven't implemented it practically, so we get scared of it sometimes, that I don't know this practically, I haven't done this practically, so how am I supposed to be confident in this topic. Then that's what I a lot of the times I feel like that is the fear with system design, that we haven't done it, but uh, like how am I supposed to get confident in this topic. But that's how it is going to be, because even in your engineering journey, you may not always get to implement those things firsthand. Like sometimes you may be put on a project where that is already implemented, and you have to start building features on top of that architecture. So you still need understanding of that, but you don't have to write it firsthand. So a lot of the times you may even not get the opportunity to implement it, but still that understanding definitely comes handy, because you do have to build features on top of it and you do need to have the in-depth knowledge about it. But I feel like a lot of the things you learn as you go along. So don't be afraid, and definitely try to give some time to system design as well. So yes.
Right. I think your question is answered, Gautam. Gautam, I don't know if I am pronouncing that right. Uh, Please pardon me. So next question we have is by Priyanka, and she's asking us, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh, that is a tough question. Where do I see myself in 5 to 10 years? All right. Um, so I definitely see myself being in a leadership position. Like I'm not sure what specifically, but definitely being in a entrepreneurial position. Like having that like after a particular point in time, I would like to be in a position where I am guiding people, where I am leading people into the journey of building things. So at the end of the day, what my goal is, that I want to make the world a better place. And I feel like technology, the best thing to achieve my goal to make the world a better place, I feel, is through technology. So that is why I am in this field, and that is at the end of the day, my end goal is to make the world a better place through technology. So that is like towards my goal. I would be a little closer than what I am right now, towards my goal in 5 to 10 years. So yes, I hope that answers your question.
Definitely, I think that answers the question pretty well. So, next question is from Akash Mohankar, and he's asking, what are your thoughts about no code development? Is it worth investing time?
Okay, so no code development, that is definitely a field, or you can say a domain out there which is useful. I definitely feel like no code development is useful, but it is useful for those people who want to get, like, I would say it is useful for two types of situations. One would be they want to get their startup or their website or their application ready to go in a very short amount of time. If that is your goal, then initially definitely go for no code development, because you have very less amount of time and you need to get it out there, maybe to convince your investors, or maybe to get the word out there, marketing, we don't know. So if this is your case, you want to get your application very quickly, like you have only 1 week and you want a very good looking and a website with substantial amount of features, if that is your goal, then no code development is the right thing for you. And once the word is out there, once your investors are happy, marketing is done, then side by side you can have a team working on your project as well, right? Which creates a very scalable system. So why do I say this? Because I feel like eventually I think it will get there, like no code development will get to that point where through no code development it's a very highly scalable system. But right now I feel like there are few limitations out there. Like if you want a very customized application through, like, you can build Netflix through no code, right? You can build that architecture. So I feel like if you want to build something really big, then it is not possible through no code, but eventually through AI and stuff what GitHub is building. So eventually we may get there, but that is the reason why I say like no code development is useful, but till a certain point. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yes. So definitely, I mean, it completely depends on like, where you're using it and the circumstances. What might be right in one situation might not be in the others. Yeah, definitely. So next we have Justin asking, what should be a path for someone to be an SDE? Should one focus on competitive programming using CP, Java or HackerRank, etc., or should one focus on projects? Which type did you do, web or Android?
Okay, all right. So I think there are two questions here. So first question is, what is the path that one should take to become an SD? So I know a lot of people who have become SDs at very huge companies like Google, Amazon through competitive programming. I know a lot of people who have not at all worked on any project, but because they were so skilled at competitive programming, they were able to get into really great companies as well. And on the other hand, if you look at the contrast, there are a lot of people who have worked only on projects, not really too much on competitive programming. Doesn't mean that they don't have knowledge about data structures, but not till that extent where you are able to solve a very complex graph question through hashing and all the different algorithms in 30 minutes. Not till that extent, but they are familiar with the data structures, but mostly focused on projects. So if I talk about my personal experience, I focused mostly on projects and not on competitive programming. I I always was I always lean towards projects because like this is my just my personal opinion. I used to feel more inclined towards projects because uh, like if I have something in front of my eyes, if I'm building something, that's why I really like full stack development, because you not only focus on the back end aspect but the front end as well. So I like that feeling when you click a button and something happens in the back end. So I really like that feeling. So personally, I focused more on projects because when I can see it in front of my eyes being built, like what I am building, so that really entices me. And if I like, that is just a thinking that if I am building a project, then that potentially may be used by not a lot of people, but at least a few people. So that encourages me more rather than writing a program. Like competitive programming is like writing programs, right? So it's just about what suits you, like what you like. There are people who get really enticed by competitive programming, and they have been successful in their journey as well. So I feel like whatever suits you, whatever you feel you are good at, because like if you just listen to YouTubers and influencers that you need to do DSA to get into Google, you need to be really good at DSA, but like while doing it you're not enjoying it, so then there is no point, and you will not really get success, like if you are not enjoying the process. If you are just doing it for the sake of it, for the sake of getting SDE at Google or Amazon or whatever FANG, so if you are doing it for the sake of that, then uh, you may not achieve that because you're not enjoying the process. So enjoying the process matters a lot, and don't worry about like which company I would get, whether through DSA or projects. Like, do what you like. If you like doing projects, do that. If you like doing competitive programming, do that. My only request to you guys is to do what you love, and you will eventually get success in it. Just don't stop. And I think the second part of the question was, what did you do, web or Android? So I I have done a little bit of Flutter in my like during my BTech, like a few projects in Flutter, but it was mostly in web development, particularly the mean slash merge stack, like Angular, Node.js, MongoDB, like few projects in React as well. So mostly a few full stack developer in the web development realm, but I have worked with Flutter as well. So always had the mindset that like when Flutter came out, it was very enticing. Like, what is this? And it's very their marketing was that it's very easy to build Android apps now, like rather than native Android like Java, Kotlin. You can easily build Flutter apps, that too for Android and iOS both at the same time. So that was a really enticing thing, and I found it very like intriguing to learn. So in order to learn, I built a few projects in that, but that I didn't really find my calling with Android or mobile development realm. So I stuck with web development, and I worked more in web development. That's why currently as well I am a web developer.
All
So
right.
yes.
All right. I think you answered that very well. Thank you so much, Karan. And definitely Flutter was in the boom, like when when you were building the applications and all. All right. So moving on, next question is by Aditya, and he's asking what stack should we focus on?
Okay, okay. So, all right. So there are a lot of. I'm assuming you're talking about web development stacks. So there are a lot of stacks out there. There are PHP based stacks. There are completely JavaScript stacks. Then there is JavaScript plus Python stack. Then Ruby on Rails is also something that I personally work with. So there are a lot of stacks out there. If you are new to this realm and if you want to get started, I would suggest going with like 100% JavaScript stack, which is like mean stack or merge stack. So, and why do I say this? Because that will not only get you a very good grasp on JavaScript, which you definitely need, no matter what type of a full stack developer you are, no matter whether it's backend is Ruby on Rails, Python, whatever it is, front end is going to be in JavaScript or TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript. So you definitely need to be familiar with JavaScript at the end of the day. If you are into full stack or even front end, you need JavaScript. So that is one reason. And another reason is that it is easier to grasp because you just have to learn one programming language. That's it. Then apart from that, there are features of the framework, like Angular may provide different features and React may provide different features, but at the end of the day it's going to be written in JavaScript. So it will be faster for you to build projects in that. So definitely will suggest a JavaScript 100%, like front end, back end, and even you can put, instead of a relational database like MySQL or Postgres, you can put a MongoDB into the mix, which is a JSON based JavaScript, like a non-relational. So that is another, that not saying that MongoDB is the database you should use always. There are of course use cases, but to learn and get started, definitely a 100% JavaScript based full stack, which would be mean or mon.
Alright.
Yes.
So I hope that answers your question better. And next we have HP17 who's asking off-campus and opportunity, internship opportunities or on campus.
Okay, so that depends on the that depends on the which college you are part of. If your college gets opportunities like internship opportunities of great companies, then definitely why not? Like you should apply. Like I feel like there is no harm in applying for on-campus internships, but just don't apply randomly. I would say apply to the companies which you feel like you want to be a part of. So if you are getting the on-campus opportunities, then my point of view is why not? Like why not apply? And at the same time, you shouldn't stop applying off-campus. You should always look at off-campus because HackerRank in particular, they don't really go on campus of any particular college. That is done off campus itself. And there are a lot of companies like HackerRank out there which you are missing out on. So I feel like you should definitely be looking off campus. At the same time, why not get the on campus opportunities as well? In my case, since I had really bad scores, like even in 12th standard I had 56%. So even though my CGPA was good, but my 12th standard score was 56%. And usually off on campus opportunities, they have that 12th standard criteria that you should have above this, and the minimum criteria that I saw was 60% always. So I was always below that criteria. So in my case, I had the only option I had was off campus. But if you have that privilege of on campus as well as off campus, so my thinking is both should be done. But don't lose sight of off campus. Don't feel like if I'm applying on campus, I'll get something from the college, because the you can say getting it on campus is sometimes easier also, because the competition is less in a particular college. Your competition is going to be your batchmates, right? But off campus, your competition is like thousands and thousands of people. But still, I feel that you should apply both, like, and and the company which you would like to be part of, if that is on campus, then why not go for it? So yes, I hope
Right.
that answers your question.
Definitely. And I think being ethical also while doing this is extremely important, like especially when you are applying for on-campus interviews, because in case you like don't end up signing the offer, you are like wasting a seat and all, which is not right for someone else. So, okay, moving on, we have Shivam Jha who's asking any comments on web dev demo. I think that's a very interesting question.
Okay, so like definitely, like in a lot of like production applications out there, like take Amazon, Zomato, Swiggy, even Ola, a lot of these production level applications, they use machine learning heavily. Like even though we don't see it firsthand, but they use machine learning heavily. And if you are a person who is skilled in both of these fields, like web development plus machine learning, that is definitely going to give you a very big advantage, because machine learning is a very, I would say it's a must domain right now for like startups out there, like machine learning, like companies out there. If they are using machine learning, there is so much of data analysis that is done automatically, so that always is a really good, like a big benefit to that particular company, right? So even if you are starting your own company or working for a particular company, this, like if you're thinking about web dev plus machine learning, that is a really good direction that you're going into, because I feel that machine learning, I personally also have worked with a few machine learning projects. And at the end of the day, if you, like at the end of the day, machine learning projects, if you want them to be used by people, you need an application, whether it be mobile app or web app. If you want the end user to get the benefits of your machine learning project, then you need a web application. So like if you are into that, then definitely it is going to benefit you, and it is a really good skill to have. So yes.
All right. I think you answered that very well. I mean, both go hand in hand and they just increase each other's powers, I think. All right. So the next question is what kind of questions were asked in your interview? This is asked by Madhura.
Okay, so basically in my interview experience, like for getting the SDE intern role at HackerRank, that was a very, I would say it was just amazing. Like the I was prepared for one type of interview. Like I was like, of course, you prepare for an interview, right? So I had prepared for a particular type of an interview. Okay, but when I got into the call and the first call that was with Hari, he's the CTO of HackerRank. So he himself he takes the interviews of all the SD intern roles. So my first call was with him, and like initially I don't even know how it started, but it just got into a conversation. Like it wasn't even like he was asking me questions like as an interviewer and I am the interviewee. I never felt like that I am being interviewed. It always felt like I am having a conversation with this person, and like even before the interview was scheduled, I knew that it was with the CTO. So there was a lot of pressure on me. I was very nervous because it's with the CTO. But after a few minutes into the call, it was like I forgot he was the CTO, and it was like I was just having a casual conversation and talking about technology, what we love. So it got into that, and there were not really questions as such. Like it was just a conversation we were having. I was talking about my projects mostly, and he was asking me like questions on my projects itself. Like if I was talking about a particular project, so on that project he would ask me questions that like how did you do this, or why this, something along those lines. So if you have built your own projects, then like that is the best possible interview you could expect, right? Because that is the thing you know the best, because you yourself have built it. So yeah, that was my interview experience. And then second round was with Rajesh. He's a engineering manager at HackerRank. So that was even more, you can say, cooler or more chill than the first interview experience. Again, that was like a conversation we were having. Like we even talked about, like I think something about guitar and music. Like we even went into that direction. So that was also something that was part of the call, like the interview call. So definitely very unexpected, but it was only about projects and what I had worked on and the community work that I had done. So all of these things combined, it was like a conversation that I was having, and it was about the things that I have only done. It was not like DSA or write this Dijkstra's algorithm in 15 minutes. It was not like that. It was like whatever I had only done, I had to talk about that. So yes, I hope that answers your question, Madhura.
Definitely. I think that really helps ease us out a little bit because I think all of us are like the placement season this year, and I think all of us are like literally freaking out about the interviews. Definitely, like your experience definitely helped in that. So Jaspin is asking, I am into Jaspin says actually, I am into web dev. Mernstack has made clones of Netflix, Ola. Should I apply for jobs or internships using these in portfolio? Or what level of projects should I make before intern? Both your student here.
Okay, so I think your question is that you have worked in Stack, you have built clones of Netflix and other various big softwares out there. So is it enough? I am guessing this is your question. So I like I would say just through like just by building clones, like if you have built the like even a small amount of backend architecture for those clones, like of course you can't build the entire system architecture of Netflix or big applications like that. But even if you have built a very small subset of that architecture, then definitely that shows a lot of skill and potential. But I would say don't just focus on building clones of other applications, because uniqueness in your project and putting in your own ideas into the project, like putting in your own thoughts, like what is the main idea of the project. Like a lot of the times we get lost in the technology and we forget about the product aspect of the project. Like how is this going to look like to the end user? Are they going to feel like this is something that I would use? Like do you yourself feel that I would use this if that it was out there? So I would say that think from this perspective as well, like a product perspective. Like would I use this, would other people use this? Ask your friends, show your application to your friends. Won't even take like more than 5 minutes to get their feedback on your project. And having a little bit of like building clones and subsets of big system architecture definitely shows a lot of skill and potential. But I would say having your own uniqueness, putting in your own ideas and efforts, and building unique projects, that also shows a different aspect of your personality and your skill. So I would say clone projects that are great, try to build more of your own projects as well. So yes.
All right. I think that answers your question, Justin. And next we have Akash Mohankar who's asking, how do you store and handle notes for important points? Thinking how to solve a problem and remembering later, not for class notes.
Okay. This is a question which I resonate with a lot, and I really like this question. So like before, like in my third year, what I used to do was like in the initial part of my third year, even late part of second year, I had taken a lot of responsibilities in my college. Like at that time had started revolution as well, and academics were had a lot of pressure. I was trying to get into Google DSC. A lot of things were going on. So at that time I realized like that before that it was always impromptu. Like whatever came in front of me, I'll do that, and I'll do that with like by giving 100%. But during like around that time, second year and third year beginning, I figured out that you need to be a little bit like a little bit of structure needs to be there in your life, because without structure you can't really handle a lot of things on your plate. So at that time what I used to do was I used to just a simple .txt notepad file that I found was the best for me, because my time was mostly spent on a desktop machine like a laptop, and not really on mobile phone. There are mobile phones. There are a lot of people who use mobile phones as well to get to write down notes. So, however your lifestyle is, like as a software engineer, I would assume that your time is spent a lot more on the laptop or a desktop rather than a mobile phone. So I found that .txt files are the best for that. I don't really like to use like big applications, like bloated applications. I just want to see my point there, and I don't need GUI or I don't need fancy looks in that application. I just want my point like printed there, and when I am done with it, I just used to write done at the beginning. So like taking notes or writing down the like a to do, you can say to do list, I would say keep it simple, don't complicate it. And even the startup time of a notepad file, that is a really fast startup time, right? If you're using intricate software, it's going to load, and you don't want to waste time in that. So that is just my feeling. Like I just want it to be very fast, and I find that .txt files, notepad files are very really fast. You can even if you're coding in VS Code, the IDE, if you're using that. So in that as well, like along with your project files, just open another tab, and in that you can write down your notes, whether it be about your project, the to-do list that you have to do in that particular day, or whatever, even class notes. Like you said, not for class note, but even for that, a lot of the during these online lectures, although it is going to start offline now, a lot of the times I used to take notes online, like in a .txt file itself. So that definitely helps a lot. It just has to be really quick, like according to my perspective, it just has to be really quick. You should be able to open it like instantaneously. So no need for fancy GUI and stuff like that. Just a simple .txt file works.
Right. Actually, I resonate a lot with what you said because I think most of us, like including myself, I have a lot, like at least two apps on my phone, which do take up a lot of effort to like go in and put in your tasks for the day, and you have to browse through things unnecessarily. And I think that kind of like takes up some time, which we don't really need to spend, and we can just use a normal .txt and get our job done. All right. So Jaspin and Shivam are thanking us for this session, and they're saying that it's really helped them. Thank you so much, Jaspin and Shivam. We are glad to hear that. We just hope that these sessions are helpful for you and even the future sessions. Just make sure you like the video so that it really helps us, and also spreading this message to the entire community and people who did not see it up till now. So thank you guys. So moving on, next question we have is from Varun, who's asking websites where we can practice coding questions.
Okay, so websites. So a really short answer for that, like lead code is a very useful website. Even to get started, I feel HackerRank is also a good website to get the ball rolling and getting started with questions, like different questions out there. So there are a lot of platforms. Then if you want to level up your game, then going into code forces and coding chef stuff, like websites like that. So like trying out with lead code and HackerRank, that is a good starting point, I would say. Trying out different easy to medium level questions, and then leveling up your game. And if you are feeling that, okay, now I want to get into competitive, like if you just want to learn DSA, I feel the two websites I mentioned are more than enough. But once if you start feeling that I want to get more into this, then uh, code chef and code forces, these are also great websites. So yes.
All right. I hope that answers your question, Varun. So next question is by Neeraj, and he's asking, what was your preparation strategy for your internship?
Okay, so preparation strategy. Hmm. It was my, like personally, my preparation strategy was like trying to build the right resume. Like I spent a lot of time in building the resume I wanted, like which I felt was good enough, like which I really like. Like I didn't really use these. Like now there are a lot of tools out there which will rate your resume and they will tell you that this should be here and this is how you should write it. But at that time, I also wasn't aware, and at that time my goal was that I should personally, if I see this resume, like as a recruiter or as a hiring manager, then I would personally hire this person. So that was my goal, and that's all my preparation strategy was. Because from the first year itself, I just did what I love to do, like building things, like creating applications, creating projects, doing extracurricular stuff in college. Like that's just what I resonated with. That's just what I love doing, community work and building things basically. So I just had to put that in a like a document, a resume, and that was my preparation strategy. But if you are someone who wants a particular path, like how you can go about it, or if you're in first year and not really sure what your path should be, then I would say just have an open mindset. Try to learn different frameworks. Try to understand how software is built, and not the kind of software that is taught in first year, like the programming, the basics that are taught, like C or Python. I had started building projects from my first semester itself. So I would suggest that you should also try that if you resonate with building things. So like don't really rely on just on academics, because that is not going to cut it. That's not something that is a requirement in the, like that will not fulfill your you can say skill set of landing a good job in the industry. So I would say get your hands dirty, try to learn new frameworks. Don't rely on what I am saying. Like try to get out there, try to learn new things. Don't hesitate. Try to get into, like if there is something community, like some sort of community work happening, try to join that. Learn, like you learn the best when you interact with people. Try to understand their problems. Try to understand the problems. Even sometimes there are college projects as well, so don't limit yourself. Try to do those as well. Like don't feel that you should come up with the project idea. even if a project is given to you. Like I had done a lot of college projects as well. So like just have a learning mindset. Wherever you are getting knowledge from, try to get it, and eventually you will find your path. You yourself will understand that now for this I want to build a mobile application, or now for this I want to build a web application. Then you have a problem in front of you, then like this is what I used to do. Like there was no one who tell me that. My first project was in mean stack. There was no one who told me that do it in mean stack. I had a problem statement in front of me, and I went ahead and googled like what technologies I should use, and 2 to 3 days I was just googling that this versus this, Angular versus React, this versus that. I was doing that, and at that time what I resonated with was mean stack. I used that, and then I kept on iterating over that. So I feel like take a problem statement and then worry about the technologies and how you are going to do it and when you will do it, or what would be the process. Worry about that later. Take the responsibility, I would say.
All right. I think you explained it quite well. So, next question is from Kaushal, who's asking, what was your journey like before you landed your internship? I think that question's already asked, so maybe if there's anything that you want to add to it.
So like before getting my internship, it was very I wasn't really getting any, you can say, offers, or not even offers. Like I was never considered also for any job role, like at least through on campus, because of my 12th standard marks and 10th standard marks. They were not really great. So I used to get filtered out in the initial stage itself. Like they apply a Excel filter and you are out of the Excel file itself directly. Deleted, your row is deleted. So never got that opportunity to even showcase my skills or talk about my projects, even though like I had the highest CGPA. Even though I had that, I still couldn't showcase my skills or my projects to different companies because of my 10th and 12th standards. So it was very demotivating, and I used to feel a lot of the times like I'm not worth anything, or I don't know anything. Whatever I have done till now, it was a waste of time. I used to feel that way. But eventually, like I would say I was also lucky enough to get the HackerRank intern role. So eventually I got that, and uh, after that I started gaining back my confidence. But you can say I had lost most of my confidence because of my 10th and 12th grade, and that was the reason why I started looking outside. So like started applying on LinkedIn, started applying on like on Google itself. If you have the notification turned on for internship opportunities, every day you get like 10 to 12 new opportunities like notified to you. So I started relying on that, and I understood that it's not going to happen through on campus, and that is what led me to getting a opportunity that is not at all there for on campus, like on campus opportunities, like on campus colleges. So yeah, that was my journey. Very demotivating at first, was very demotivated, but eventually I got the opportunity. So yes.
That's right. I think you handled the failure you had initially pretty well, and keeping patient throughout the whole journey helped you. So, yeah, definitely. So, Elvin is asking, what is your policy on take home assignments when applying to internships?
Okay, so policy. Okay, so I don't really understand policy, but I am guessing he's asking about my view on take home assignment. So I feel like that is a really good way of assessing a candidate, because a lot of the times these data structure tests are like, sometimes they, like let's say you have studied 9 out of 10 algorithms, but that 10th algorithm comes in the test. But so that doesn't mean that you're not capable enough or you're not skilled enough. You know the 9 algorithms, but that 10th algorithm you did not study, did not get the time, and you failed the test or did not get considered for the test. So that is what I feel is a problem with these DSA tests. So these take home assignments are a really good way to assess a candidate, because it not only gives enough time to create a project, which is what happens in the industry as well. because no one is going to be like, within 30 minutes I want this program ready. That doesn't happen, which is the case with DSA, right? 30 minutes, 1 hour, get this done. That doesn't happen in the industry. In the industry, you are given some amount of time to build a feature or a project. So that is where your skills are showcased the most, like take home assignments, because you are given the time and you are not restricted to not using Google. You can Google, and software engineers do Google. We rely on Google only. Stack Overflow and Google is our bread and butter, I would say. So you
Definitely.
definitely are at a very good position if you are getting the opportunity of applying to a company through take home assignments. So because you not only have the time and resources, but you can showcase your uniqueness, or you can showcase your creativity through those because of the time you have. So I feel like that is a really good way to assess candidates. So yeah.
Right. I think that answers your question, Elvin. Um, so we have an anonymous person asking which types of projects should be there in our resume.
Okay. So it totally depends on the role you're applying for. So if you are into data science or data analytics, so having projects cater towards that, like I'm not saying only that, but cater towards that. So maybe a web application or something, like even if you clone a project from GitHub, like a web application project, and in that project you add your machine learning or data science features into that. That is also a good way to build projects. Like if you are into, as I said, data science or something like that. If you are into web development, then you should definitely like try to learn about different frameworks, try to be open with different frameworks. So if you're into that, so I would say completely depends on the domain you are interested in. Like if it's mobile app development, then it should be like the significant project should be mobile applications in your resume. So because those things are looked at while you are hired, and a lot of the times these startups and companies, they prefer that they know the technology beforehand, or even not for that particular technology, but have the idea of how it works. So you get upper hand in that if you are already familiar with the stuff you would like to work with. So if you are into mobile, then mobile apps should be significant in your resume. Web, then different web framework should be significant. If you are into specific domains, like some people are into DevOps or some people are into data science, then having those niche domains as well in your resume, along with a little bit of web development or app development. But that as well, as I said, you don't, if you are able to, then definitely do it yourself. But if you are not able to, then try to clone existing projects from GitHub and then build your features on top of it. So that is also a good method of like showcasing that you are able to do that, because at the end of the day you should think that companies are trying to cater to the end user. And how do softwares cater to the end user, right? They are either through web applications or mobile applications. So through this, that is the reason why I said that you can like try to involve like either of these two, mobile or web, into your resume. But you can definitely go in the niche category as well and try to get projects from GitHub itself. So yes, I hope that answers your question.
Definitely, I think that's very well answered. And okay, so now I would. The next question is from Jyoti, who's asking, I am an F5 student and there are so many domains and fields in software out there. I'm not able to find my passion. What should I do?
Okay, all right. So, so in this case, I feel like I have already answered these questions through multiple questions, but I'll summarize it for you. Uh, so basically, I would say that try out different things. Like I know it is overwhelming. I know it's a lot to take in, especially in your first year. I have been in that position. I have gone through that. It was very overwhelming at first, but at the end of the day, as I said, take up responsibility and pick something up. Like whether it be anything, doesn't matter. Initially, go try to explore like the easier things like web development or mobile app development. Then later, like throughout the months or throughout the years, if you find calling with particular domains, like whether it be cloud or IoT or machine learning, then you will figure that out over a period of time. But get your hands dirty, try to explore different things, try to participate in hackathons, try to build projects, try to participate in coding competitions, whether it be, try to participate in different events that are happening which are related to technology, whether it be paper presentation or whether it be a project, like just showcasing a project idea. Like there are different various types of competitions out there related to technology. So try to get your hands dirty, try to familiarize yourself with different domains and why are they used, where are they used. And once you understand that aspect, like why are they used, then you will easily find your calling. Because a lot of the times I feel like purpose is a very important thing in life, like not only in coding or software. Purpose is a very important thing. And if you truly understand the purpose, and if you resonate with that purpose, that yes, I want to fulfill this particular purpose, so then you will easily fit into that domain and you will find your calling and you will find the right path. But till that happens, you should try to explore anything and everything. So yes.
That's right. And definitely sticking to it once we make a choice in which domain we have to go. That's also equally important, because I think most of us make this mistake where we, like, even after exploring, we keep jumping, and not doing one thing correctly. So yeah, definitely. So all right. So the next question is about, just give me a minute. All right. So the next question is from Tanmay, and he's asking, is burnout a real thing? How did you maintain a work-life balance before your internship?
Hmm. So before my internship, it wasn't really work life; it was academics dash life balance. So during that time, and even now, I feel even if you ask like after your internship or after your conversion, so I would say work life balance and burnout is definitely a real thing. I don't really like, a lot of the times I feel like your performance, it drops off after a certain amount of time. It drops off, and I feel like the trade-off is definitely beneficial to you, like taking some amount of time off from work and then coming back again, which will give you a healthy performance boost, which will definitely improve your uh, work, which is what we are talking about, like work life. So that trade-off, I feel like it's worth it, like taking some time off then coming back again to work. That I feel like it would at the end of the day yield better results than you working for a longer period of time continuously. So like work life balance is definitely interesting. Like there are there are like various types of ways where you can uh, include work life balance. Like for me, like going to the gym is something calming for me. Like it is something where I am able to, like, I'm able to get my mindset off of work. So for me, it is gym. For you, it can be anything. There are people whom I know, like who like to game while they are on a break. So gaming is something that you can do, or like reading a book. Anything that you like, do that. And the key part is what you like. So you need to do something that you like in during your break. That is the only way you will get your mind off of work, and you'll get that performance boost later, like when you come back to work. So work life balance, that may include short breaks during the day or taking a long weekend off. So whatever works for you, you need to find the right balance, and through trial and error only you can find that. So with time, you will understand how to maintain a good work-life balance. And I would say, like I am not that great at it as of now, but over time, I feel like everyone finds their like best best way to implement that. So yes.
Yeah, I think I agree with what you said by, like, doing what you like in between your breaks and taking breaks in general, because like most of us have noticed this, including myself, that when you're coding and you come across a problem or an error and you're not able to solve it because you're so engrossed in it and you just need some time off of your screen, and you take a break for say 15 minutes, go out on a nice little walk, and when you are back home you can easily solve that problem in like 5 minutes, which you would have previously spent like an hour. So I think, yeah, definitely answers the question. So next question is by Aditya, and he's asking, did you get your internship in your fourth year or after it?
Okay, so I got my internship in my first semester of fourth year, which was like 8 or 9 months ago, 10 months ago. So around 10 months ago, I got my internship. I was in my fourth year at that time, like just got into fourth year, and I got the internship as well. Then I got converted in like this year January. So currently, I am doing like academics as well, like the second semester of fourth year. So currently a fourth year student. So doing the academics as well as work. So yes.
Okay. So I hope that answers your question, Aditya. And HP 17 and Ulasini are saying thanks, great session. Thank you so much, everyone. And so coming to the last question of today, we have Madhura who's asking, can you talk about your internship experience and how was it?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So, the internship experience was really like the one word that comes to my mind is amazing, because the things I got to learn, they were like exponential. Like the things I had learned throughout my projects and the freelancing work that I had done in my initial part of my BTech, the things that I learned and the people that I worked with, especially the team that I was involved in, I got to learn like at an exponential rate. Like it was a lot of pressure because it was something that I was not exposed to before, like directly, and especially at HackerRank, you are like coding in the production environment by like within 2 or 3 weeks. So that pressure is definitely out there. Like you are actually building features for people that are going to use it like eventually. So that pressure, that is like definitely high, but at the same time the process is very like one of the best experiences you can have, because like while building the feature you're going to be very nervous, very stressed out, and a lot of pressure is going to be on you. But eventually when you build out that feature, the happiness that you get from it is like I can't explain it. It's a really great feeling that you get. So that was this, like what I explained right now, that was a constant thing throughout my internship. So a really great experience, and I got to learn a lot of things, like a lot of things at the same time. So pressure along with happiness, I would say. So yes.
Right, right. Good to hear about your experiences, Karan. It really helps us and really motivates us to work for what we want and what we desire. So, with that, we've come to the end of our AMA session. I hope you gained value out of the session. If you liked it, then you can let us know in the chat box. I'd request you to like this video again and subscribe to our channel so we can keep bringing more of these sessions for you guys. And I would now like to ask Karan if he has any last words of advice for us.
So, last words of advice would be never stop learning, don't stop dreaming, and always try to build things for the betterment of the world. So, yes.
I think that's a great message and a great note to end on. So, thank you, Karan. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us your time. We learned a lot from you and all this knowledge that we've gained in this session. It's definitely going to be handy in our own journeys. And all right, then, thank you for joining us in this session, guys. And we hope to see you soon again. So, stay updated regarding future webinars that we will be having. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and you can follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn. Um, So yeah, thank you. See you guys next time. Bye bye.